I'm Brenda.
And I'm Christy. We're two friends from high school who are connecting and reconnecting over music and memories.
Welcome to Normal Bias Podcast.
We're glad you're here.
Good morning. Hey, y'all. Hey, Normal Biasers. It's Brenda and Christy, and we are recording on a Sunday. This is going to be our Friday episode. This is an episode that I have been anticipating since the beginning of this. This is also episode number 37, and I don't think I've been more nervous since we started this months ago, but this is episode 37, and this is a guest that I've been trying to get on here since after Jennifer's episode, because, yes, and it's Tracy Stewart.
Hello.
This is my neighbor, my friend, that I've lived down the street from for the last, 14 years.
We've been here 14 years.
Mm-hmm. And so hey, Christy.
Hey, girls.
Hi. I'm nervous, and I think I've been nervous since I've, have said I want to talk to Tracy on here. And every time something's come up or we can't record for whatever reason, there's been all kinds of them, legitimate ones, I have been like, whew, okay. As a matter of fact, episode whatever number that was, we had James on. Tracy had to cancel.
Was that when our internet went out?
Oh, when your internet went out.
Yeah.
That was the
So
first
we had to
one.
get that fixed.
So then we talked with James, and that all worked out. It was fun. But so here we are, the end of September.
No plagues of locusts or anything, so we are doing this today. We're done.
Yes, we're doing this today. And God has been all over it because, he always sends me signs. I need neon and just so many things. And it's just funny. I'm like, dang, you're funny. Like, I get it. Like, you're in control. Okay. It's like, help me control these nerves, though.
He did give us free will, Bryn.
Yes, he did. He's so cool. But so I think I'm nervous. I told Christy, I'm just going to be like honest. I'm nervous because of I have to talk about my divorce again. And I feel like, I don't want people to be like, oh, well, she just let that go and get over it. I am over it. I totally am. I truly am. Tracy, I think, can vouch for me that I am. It's just it's such a huge part of my story. And, our story.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, we've known each other 14 years. Our son.
He's mine too.
I thought it wasn't going to be Maury Povich.
Oh my gosh. My son and her daughter, Emma and Alex, they are both 17 and seniors in high school. And the first time our paths crossed was when they were 4.
Yeah.
And
preschool.
And we were passing each other in the preschool hallway. They were 4 years old. And she had this bright orange.
It was Easter.
It was Easter.
Their Easter parties at school.
Yes, and it looked like a carrot, and it was one of those, where you put the frosting in and you squeeze it. Those bags.
Decorating bags.
Mm-hmm. Well, she had used those and put goldfish.
Cheetos.
It was Cheetos inside, and then she wrapped it with some green ribbon. It looked like a carrot, and those were like the treat bags. And I was like, excuse me. I was like, aren't you my neighbor? And she's like, yes. And I was like, that is the cutest thing ever. And this was before Pinterest, right? So I was like, can I just look at it? Show me what you did. And so then I copied it and made some for Alex's class. So that's where our paths crossed. I knew the person that lived in her house before, but until that time in the hallway, I'd never really talked to Tracy. And so that's kind of where our friendship started.
Yeah. And I knew who Brenda was because I knew some of the neighbors, but we had never had a conversation. We had not talked to each other yet, but we had a lot of mutual friends through school. I have 2 older kids. Emma's my youngest. And so those moms, some of them knew Brenda. And so they would tell me, oh, Brenda's on your street. Oh, Brenda's on your street. So I was like, I've got to meet this Brenda.
Yeah.
And so finally in the hallway we passed.
And so finally in the hallway we passed. And so we live on a cul-de-sac, and it's like one of those double cul-de-sacs. Like when you turn our street, you go around mine, and then to come out, you go around hers. So, and our street is awesome. I'll be here 20 years in October. And just about, well, a lot of the original people are still here that have been here, but
we miss those who are gone.
We totally miss
really
those
do.
who are gone.
But it's a great street.
It is a great street. And so I think the first person on our whole street was Renee Carr. And she was that neighbor. Like, she set the tone. She would come around. She would ask people's names. She's like, I'm starting a phone list. Can we put, this is before Facebook. This was like 99, 2000. And she said, what are your names? What are your kids' names? I'm putting your numbers on this list. And I even still have the original list. But so that's kind of, yeah, of course I do. But that's what our street is about. We truly are, we know each other. We know each other's kids. Some of us, we all say hi. We know things about each other. Like, we may not be like going in their house, just knowing the code and going to get Chick-fil-A sauce like we are, like Tracy and I's families are. Like, we are really close. Like, the Stewarts, and this is why I'm nervous, because okay, so we're close. She's more than, like, love your neighbor as yourself. Like, this lady and her family love us like we're their own. They have scooped us up, and anyway, okay. Okay, y'all.
Okay, so let's just stop. Let's just set some ground rules.
Yes.
Hi. It's okay if you look or sound a little bit crazy, because that you love Tracy and you love her family and you have all these big feelings, and it's okay. This is like the safest place on the internet, because this is our place. So yes. you just feel what you need to feel, sister. We're not going to say anything.
Yes,
cry. We're just gonna let you cry.
I'm going to feel my feels. So Emma and Alex are where we started. We started talking. Alex invited Emma to his fifth birthday party, I believe. And
we have the cutest picture of them from that party.
Cutest picture.
It's so cute. Yeah.
And so that's kind of where it went. And they went, all through elementary and middle school, and now they're in high school. But where things took a turn for us, where things just solidified, and poor Tracy never.
Not poor Tracy.
I still have the text.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
you do.
I do. I'm going to write a book one day about all of this, and I already have the title and everything. God gave it to me. It's going to be called "This Is My Textimony," because
you better grab that quick.
Okay, this is my testimony. It's out in the universe. I'm saying it right now. Okay, Kevin told me he wanted a divorce. And on that day, I think it took me a couple of days, but I don't know if it's a girl thing or what, but I had to tell someone, and that I had no one to tell. I couldn't tell my parents because I didn't want to disappoint them. I couldn't tell my sister. I couldn't tell his sister. Jennifer's my best friend. I couldn't tell her. Even though I think she knew. I think he may have told, I don't know that. I don't know if she knew, but I couldn't tell her. He was my person that I would tell everything to. He would, I couldn't tell my neighbor Renee because Renee was friends with my mom. I couldn't tell Cindy, I couldn't tell Brandy, I couldn't tell their friends of Kevin. Like, I felt completely alone, like I had no one to tell, like I had to tell someone. So of course I start telling God, like, oh my gosh, what is happening? Help me find someone to tell. I need to tell someone. I don't know who to talk to. And at the time, at church, I wouldn't feel comfortable talking to our pastor. I think we were just like in between them, and I think that they were new. Couldn't tell them. And I don't like the other person. I don't know if Lauren and I, like, Lauren is one of those people who is, I feel like, Team Brenda and neutral, but I think why I didn't tell her is because I didn't want to freak her out, because she's another person that I want to talk to. She and I, our lives parallel so much that I knew if I told her, it would freak her out. And I don't know where I was when I got her name in my head, but I have the text. The date was July 4th, 2014. And he told me in like the end of June. It was the last week of June. That was everything. It was Jennifer's birthday week. It was VBS. It was like Wednesday or Thursday of VBS. And I was just like, whoa, I have got to say this out loud, and I need someone to help me, or just listen. Yeah, just listen. And so on July 4th, 2014, and it was a text, thank goodness, because I'd forgotten she was in Europe.
I was in Europe. Pike and I went with his high school on a trip. So I was in Europe. And actually, when I got her text, we were on a train. And I think we were going to Spain. And the train ride was really long. So it was like really perfect timing. You do your part and then I'll do
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Thanks. Okay. Yeah. So I knew she was out of town because Emma, Jeff.
You were helping with
yes,
Emma.
I was helping with Emma. Jeff was working, and she's like, can you just keep an eye on Emma? I think I got her to school and home, and made sure she got dinner, those kinds of things. But so on July 4th, 2014, I say, this is the text. This is what I dropped on her after God said, text Tracy. Tracy is the one. Tell her. And I
sorry,
Lucy. Hey y'all.
She's just emphasizing that's what God said.
Yes.
This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. That's what she said.
Yes. So God told me Tracy, and of course I'm like, Tracy? Because like until then we weren't this yet. We weren't this yet.
We were good acquaintances, I would say.
We were.
But not like close friends.
Right. We were neighborly. We would, I could call her and say, hey, can you take Alex home? Whatever. Okay. Yeah. So on July 4th, 2014, this is the text I drop in her lap while she's on a train in Europe, if you're just tuning in. Kevin wants a divorce. I'm dying inside. That's what I said. That's what I said. And then I go on to say, I'm so sorry. I'm sending you this on your trip with your son, but I have no one else to tell. I don't have anyone else to tell. And she didn't miss a beat. She said, it's okay. It's okay. And it's going to be okay. You're going to be okay. And then she said a whole bunch of other stuff to me, but.
Well, and when I got it, we were on that train ride, and it was a long train ride. And I got it fairly close to the beginning of it. And it just gave me so much dedicated time to pray. And I just prayed like for the entire train ride, just prayed over her, over Kevin, over what I could say to her, like making sure it would be helpful and not hurtful. So it was just, really perfect timing, even though she felt like, I'm so sorry you're on this trip. And it was like, no, this is perfect actually. And it just gave me so much time to just pray over her for hours and have a conversation.
and that's what it was. And she was my person, my safe. I could say whatever. I could say what was happening. I could just say anything.
And I think part of that was I was a little bit removed from the family.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really good friends with Kevin. I knew him, and we would have conversations, about running and the marathon. I remember having conversations with him, but I wasn't an integral part of the family. And her mom, I didn't really know her mom yet. Now I do really well, but I think that also made it safe.
It did. I felt like whatever I said, it was from my mouth to her ears, and I knew God, knew all of it too. And I didn't feel judged, and I didn't feel like I was hurting anyone, and I didn't feel like it was, when you hear two words in my life in the last 6 years, divorce and cancer, my dad, they're hard, those are hard words to digest. You can hear them, but processing and digesting the words. And I was so embarrassed. I was so ashamed. I couldn't believe it was happening. I felt like a failure. I felt so many words, so many feelings. And I just kept seeing the faces of all the people that I know that were going to find out. And I just couldn't do it yet. And, it was I think it was a month later before we ever actually officially sat down and told our parents. And of course, my parents knew something was going on because I completely disappeared. I hid in my house. I didn't see them. And yeah, so Tracy and I just began this text train of text, and any time of day I felt like I needed to tell her something, I would, and she was there.
And then when I got back, we started going on walks every night.
Yes.
And that was, Brenda needed to get out and just get some fresh air, and we would just walk and talk and walk and talk, and it was good.
It was good. It was really good. And so, yes, Tracy Stewart became my person, this house, like, then, okay, I guess Kevin moved out in October, this was July. So he moved out in October of 2014. And so, I don't know when we started doing every other weekend, because then all of a sudden, I'm going to have to start splitting time with my kids. And that was the next step. Yes. And then they started inviting me to dinner, or I started hanging out over here on the, I was like, oh no, I'm by myself. Like, can I just come over? They're like, absolutely, come over. And like, their house became my second home. And then I started to get to know her kids better and her pets better. And
and Jeffrey Allen.
Like, he hit that guy. Oh, he's another one. This family, Christy, I just cannot say enough about how much I love them. And I think that's where all the nerves came from, is because, we started this podcast, and I always say, love on your people, tell them how you feel. I think they know how I feel. I want to make sure that they know how I feel. And so I'm just going to go on ahead and tell you all the things that you are, that I see.
Well,
Tracy?
I'm going to pause here, though.
What?
Do you need Jeff to come in and cry with you?
He's a crier.
He is a crier. Yes, I love that you said that. And you know, yes. Well, here's the other thing is that about today, about how I said God picked it. I was nervous about being in here saying all these things because he and I would be bawling on the floor because I'm afraid to say things in front of Grace because I care so much what she thinks. And Emma, Emma, I can't even say it, but when I turned the corner to walk over here, they're all at church. So God cleared the house, except for he left me Lucy.
Yeah.
So, you know, they'll hear this, or, you know, maybe we'll have our opportunity later, but it has always been about her, you know, and she is, and you know, and like I said, I have people, and she has people, and she has very best friends and things like that, but this, I need this. I needed this. I needed her. God knew that. And it's all about timing with us and the way things happen. And anyway, so she's my voice of reason. She is strong, like not just physically, because this girl at the CrossFit box, she's like, she is, yes, she's got guns. She's number one at the box. She used to be. Well, you're gonna be.
Number one in our hearts, Tracy.
There you go. I'll take that.
But she's just strong mentally and emotionally, and I'll get into that later because she's had a journey. And that's another thing is, I don't know if she talks about it or that a lot of people know. So we'll get there. She's a giver. She's a doer. She's an acts of service girl all the way. Love her. And so that we
bond over that.
We do bond over that quite a bit because I'm like that too. She's calm. She's a helper, a learner. She's a carpenter. Recently.
If you need a farmhouse table, hit me up. I'm for hire.
She builds a table that is so amazing. And I love sitting at it, knowing she built it, and she's built one for someone else. Now she's about to build a king size bed. She's a mother, she's a daughter, a sister, a wife, a friend. She is creative. She's smart. She's very smart. And when I wrote that down last night, I was like, I don't know if I say that. Like her children and her husband are crazy brilliant. And I was like, you know what?
Crazy brilliant.
Tracy is crazy brilliant. Like you are smart, and you're funny. You're very funny. Everyone in this house is the funniest, you know, but Tracy is funny. I don't say that enough. She is. She's funny. She is beautiful. Oh, you are.
She made me cry.
She is 52 years old. Look at her. She doesn't even look it, right? You are just, you are inside and out beautiful. You're a listener. And I say that because I always want to be that and be better at it. And she just is a listener. And I feel like she's such a good listener that she has so much to say, but she's always listening. And I hope that she's going to be able to say all the things that are in there that I know she wants to say or needs to say someday. Because she's also a writer and an editor, a really good one. She's a survivor, but she's not a victim. She's a survivor and a thriver. And that is another thing that God gave me in this relationship is a gift of seeing and knowing. I'll just say it. She lost her mother when she was 16 in a drunk driving accident.
Yeah, she was killed by a drunk driver.
I'm sorry, Tracy.
And she's also lost her father, like we did, of cancer. And so I know I cry and I talk, and sometimes I'll go home and I'm like, you had your dad for 70 years, or he was 70 years old. you know, you had him all those years and she lost her mom when she's 16. Like, so she's just amazing like that, that she has gone through this life and done all of the things that she's done and has this amazing family, and she's done it without her mama. She's independent. She's a reader and a librarian, and that's a funny word, librarian. This girl, this lady, she's a, I always say she's a grower. She grows readers. She had started this program at our school, the Blue Bonnet. Well, there's Blue Bonnet books. That's not, she didn't start that, but she started this thing called the Blue Bonnet Breakfast. And so she gets all the Blue Bonnet books and she lists them and she orders them and she talks about them and she encourages them to read as many as they can. I think there's 20 a year.
There's 20 every year. Yeah.
Okay. And so I've started working there. I guess this is my 5th year. And when I started, I think the readers were like around 30 of them, maybe, that I can remember or so, but now it's grown up to like 100 and what is it now?
Well, my very first year, this is my 6th year in the library. The first year only had 3 kids that, to qualify for the Blue Bonnet Breakfast, you have to read 5 of the 20 books by the end of January, because that's when the voting is. And I had 3 kids qualify to vote. And last year I had 189.
That is awesome.
And it's 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders.
Mm-hmm.
And 4th grade is kind of where reading for fun falls off. So that's like my main focus, is to keep those kids reading. And they were actually my strongest readers last year. So
Mm-hmm.
They need it, especially in 4th grade as they work on their, you know, whatever.
Everything they do in class is, you know, reading to analyze, reading to write, and just, they still need to read for fun, and just remember that reading can still be fun.
Yeah.
And she makes it fun. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, for me, like, reading is an escape. It's a way to travel to places you've never been, to times you'll never see, and spend time with people you'll never know. And I think that our kids need that, because their worlds can get super small. And I think reading opens up the entire world to them, you know, and they can be anywhere at any time with anyone. And even if they, you know, like my son has chosen, my daughter some, but my son loves dystopian novels, which James just like, I don't understand why he reads that stuff. And I was like, I totally get it. I totally get for a kid to read about a world with no rules, or, you know, whatever it is that draws him in. But I love that you are bringing reading to a group that really needs it. Now, if you could clone yourself at 7th grade, that's the next drop off, because that's when they start.
That's true. That is true. Yeah.
But she hasn't. What's really awesome is the way she, you know, she encourages, and if they read 3, if they read 5, some kids read all 20, you know, the way she does it is after they've read a book, then they come and talk to her about it. And of course she's read them all, which is awesome, because
good books too.
Yes. And so she knows the books. And so then there's this dialogue, there's this conversation, and then there's these relationships that form, which is so cool. And that, what I also love is then she's able to personalize, like they'll ask her, what's a good book? Well, she knows them so well that she is able to find books that they'll like, that she knows they'll like, and they do.
And that's one of my favorite parts of being at the library, is matching kids with books. And when they come back and they're like, oh my gosh, that was so good, thank you so much. Like, I love doing that.
So I love that. And then even during Corona, so our school district is still, you have the choice of being online or being face-to-face. So then she's developed a way for them to, virtual?
Oh, the online learners to do curbside pickup. So she made a form, a Google form, and they're able to say, you know, if they know a specific title they want, she'll pull that for them, or she'll say, what kind of books do you like, or are you looking for? And then she'll suggest ones for them, match them. And then she stands there and hands them out. And
I know that those kids are so excited, and the parents are coming and they're picking them up. It's really cool. It's very, very cool.
Are your kids readers, Tracy?
Yes, my husband,
The whole families are
the whole family. My husband is avid reader. Like there are times when I'm like, put your book down. Like he's not addicted to anything else except reading, and it's constant. We have books everywhere. He used to hide them from me, and I found his hiding places.
he loves reading, but he loves like his books, and they're book people. They're not like Kindle, like they have books. And
the smell, you have to open it and smell it.
Like NPO, no,
you can't crease it. Okay, so they have my son Pike and my husband. I have very similar tastes in what they like to read, and my son's 23. So there's like series of books. I wish he was here and I could ask him about it, but like, 15 books in the series, and each book is like 1,200 pages long. They read that series like 4 times, both of them, but you can't tell. They're paperbacks. You can't tell they've even been opened. They don't crease the spine. Like they are so careful with their books. It is insane.
Yes.
Yeah. So yes. And then all my girls love to read too. So they're all big readers.
Big readers. And I have to say this on Jeff. He loves reading so much, like when they go to bed, those headlamps.
Oh, I didn't know if you were going to bring this up.
Yes, those headlamps for camping. Yeah, he sits in bed with his headlamp for camping and reads his book.
And reads, yeah.
It's super sexy, Tracy.
It's super, yeah. It's adorable.
Oh my God, Jeffrey, just love him.
It's great. Yeah.
But yeah, so
I have to ask, does he take it off when you're not reading?
It's when he's reading.
Oh,
he does. Oh.
Hello.
I thought it was a family show.
La 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 la. No.
They being out of bounds, but I'm just like,
it's only for reading.
Okay,
it's only for reading.
Listen, whatever works for you, Tracy. Clearly, y'all are a successful couple. But I do want to backtrack.
The next word on my list is she's brave. She's
clearly
brave with the headlamp. She's a daughter of God. Like, I've learned so much about, my relationship with God, I think has improved or even become a relationship because of Tracy. A lot of it, she's helped me so much grow my faith, for sure. I've never been a girl who gets mad at God and shuts him out. I get busy and I don't ignore him either, but I'm just like, I don't have time for this or for that. And she is just a constant reminder saying, he's there. Just don't forget. And she's a prayer warrior. Like, man, the enemy hates a prayer warrior like her. She's she just does. That's the other thing, I'm like, kind of like you said, did you eat? Did you take your medicine? She's like, have you prayed about it? And I'm like, dang it, Tracy, no.
I didn't pray about it. I was handing it to you so you could pray about it. Come on, Tracy.
She's a rock star. And I say that because I know in her head she is. She has this dream of being on a stage. But
ultimate dream, like totally being on the stage singing, like spotlight, but I have zero talent to go with that dream. But I got to do that at Christmas.
Yes, you did.
What are you gonna sing when it's your time? Like when you're somewhere and like Celine's gonna be like, Tracy Stewart. And what are you gonna sing when you get up on stage?
I have no idea. I don't know. Honestly. I need to plan that out because someday it's gonna happen.
It is.
Be ready, Tracy. Be ready.
Yes, and I say you are. She is, because she's that to her family. Like her family I mean, they love her. And the kids at school love her. Like, even on dress up days, I can't remember what dress up day that was.
It was career day.
Career day. Wait, what? 2, 3?
It was 4 of them.
Four of
girls
them
came dressed as me.
Mm-hmm. As
the
Miss
librarian, Mrs. Stewart. They made little name tags.
Uh-huh.
And then I wear shirts sometimes. Like one of my favorite ones is just one more chapter. So I wear like, little reading shirts. And 2 of them had shirts made like mine that said just one more chapter. It was so cute.
So she's already a rock star, okay?
Yeah.
Her stage is different right now, but she is. And I just love that. My favorite reading shirt you had is Reader's Gonna Read.
Reader's Gonna Read.
She's a Longhorn, a real one. She actually went and graduated from UT, unlike me, but
You're a real Longhorn.
I know I was born a Longhorn. I just was. She's an encourager. Sports. She's not just passionate about baseball and football. Like, she's knowledgeable on a statistical standpoint. Like, she knows her stuff. Like, just try. I don't even. I know enough, but you really like, you and Alex can have conversations about stuff that I'm like, okay.
And a lot of people don't know, after I graduated from UT, I moved to Dallas and could not find a teaching job. So I ended up working at Sports Day, the Dallas Morning News sports paper, and I was an agate editor for Sports Day for 3 years. So I worked in the sports department. And those guys would try to trick me too. They would walk by and throw out questions, and I always knew the answers. Like, I know my sports, people. Yeah.
I love that.
So Jeff is a lucky man.
Yeah, he is.
You're beyond the whole package, Tracy. If I didn't like you so much, I'd probably be intimidated by how awesome you are. I mean,
not intimidating.
All these things.
A funny story, when Jeff and I were first dating, I was living in Dallas and he was in Lake Jackson. So we would kind of meet up on weekends sometimes. And we were, it was a Sunday morning, and he said, "Hey, do you want to go to a movie this afternoon?" And I was like, "It's Sunday. There's football on. Are you crazy? I'm not going to go to a movie on a Sunday. Who does that?" So he's like, "Oh, yeah, football."
Like, oh yeah, I meant football.
Yeah.
I love him. Was that him who came home?
I don't know. I think so.
Okay. So she's sympathetic, but she's also empathetic. She's a great driver. And that's a funny one. I added that later, but I was like, this girl right here, it would take me a whole 3.5 hours to get to Austin, and that's just driving. Like, that doesn't include how many times I have to stop to pee. Okay. This one, right? She can drive to Austin. What? How?
2.5 hours.
2.5 hours. Doesn't miss a beat. And then, I mean, she's just like quick, but she's also good, and like, she knows efficient. You're an efficient driver.
Efficient driver.
I just
my family used to call me the trip Nazi. when the kids were little, I wouldn't let them have any big snack. Well, they could snack, no drinks, because we're only if we're going from Houston to Amarillo, which is like an 11-hour drive. I'm making it in 9 hours. I don't have time to be on the road that long. We would stop one time for gas and food, no drinks. We can have a drink when we get to Amarillo.
But seriously, yes. And so one time they left the house at 9 o'clock in the morning, went to Austin, came back. We're back by 3.
It was around 4, 3:34.
Okay, 3:34. Yeah. And I was like, me and the boys can't even get up and get to Target and back without making a whole day of it. I'm like, y'all wait, you went to Austin and you're back already? Because I was texting her going, when y'all get back, do y'all want to, she's like, oh, we're back.
So Tracy, you are my hero, and I'm not going to let my husband listen to this, because I can barely make it to Houston from here without asking to stop.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, like my bladder is like this big, and then my husband and my children are all camels. So like your whole 9-hour one stop, like, I mean, they probably wouldn't even need the one stop if the car wouldn't need gas.
Yes, that's how
you
I
ever
am.
need traveling buddies, come call the Ferrones, but I will stay home.
But I am very understanding.
She is, bless her heart.
I am. So when we go on trips together, we can stop as much as you want. It's fine. I think it's when the kids were little is when I was like, no, I don't have time to be in the car with these children this long.
But even though we stop, we still
make really good time.
Still make good time. I'm like, how does she do that?
And it's not like I'm going 100 miles an hour. I'm not that person either.
She's not.
90.
And you know, when growing up, my dad was the driving Nazi. Like, we never stopped. I'm like, Dad, please, I need to go. And he's like, nope, good time. We have to make good time. But I always felt like it took forever. When I'm in the car with her going somewhere, it doesn't take forever. It's really.
That's funny.
Awesome.
I was not expecting that one.
She's sweet. Like, she just is. And I didn't want to write that as like sweet, but she's just nice. Like you just are, like, to anyone and everyone. Like, you can approach her and say things to her, and she's just going to be nice and non-judgy. She's determined. You're a middle child.
I am.
And that's like, when I wrote that down at the end too, like before I got here. But she doesn't attribute those qualities, like typical birth order children thing, because I think, again, just growing up, I think you just were independent, and she just did things on her own, and I just feel, I don't know, I forget that you're in the middle and not the oldest to your brother and sister. And then this one's, I feel like she's a magnet for needy people. Hashtag mostly me, but I just feel like
that's hilarious.
I do. I just feel like, bless her ever loving heart. That's a Tracy thing, ever loving heart. I'm like, dang, you're just, maybe I'm like, are you too nice? What is it? I was like, I just feel like, here I am again. I'm so needy. I just can't help it. I'm like, once God said, go to her. Like, I guess.
There's a reason you are not needy.
There's a reason. No. But so that runs up my things that I just think of her, some of them, a lot of them. I want to say this right now. If she says, and I say this and people say this, call me anytime. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is. You can do that with her. And I didn't print that text, but there was a text one night. I was very, 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 very depressed. There's a song by Shawn Mendes, is his name?
Yeah.
And it says, it isn't in my blood. And I really like that song, because it's not in my blood to think suicidal thoughts. I never had suicidal thoughts, because my depression was very, very intense. I never had suicidal thoughts, but I did have thoughts of giving up. When I say that, it was really hard. I didn't want to give up my children, but it just was so hard, especially this one night. I just thought, Kevin can give them a better life. He can, financially, emotionally, like, he just could. And I just wanted to give them that, because I felt like I couldn't be that for them. And so they were with him that weekend, and I woke up because I was in my pajamas. I think I was actually wearing pajamas that night you came. And I just remember getting up, and I couldn't breathe. I was having a panic attack. I couldn't breathe. And I was just like, God, I can't do this. Like, I can't do it. I can't make it. I want to give up. They deserve better. And I just remember I fell to my knees and laid on the floor. Like, I couldn't breathe. And I was just ready just to say, Kevin, I can't, they can live with you. Like, I just can't do it. And I just remember God saying, text Tracy right now. And I just remember thinking, I couldn't even get up off the floor to find my phone. I don't even know. I remember reaching for it literally on the phone, I was on the floor, like just scooting across the floor. And I grabbed my phone and I said, please, can you come? Please come right now. I think I said, I can't do this anymore. And I don't know if she thought was like I didn't want to hurt myself, but I think God was telling me to get her there so then she could talk me out of my head. But I just remember I texted her and I said, can you come right now? And it was really early or late or whatever in the middle of the night.
It was middle of the night.
And I said, I was able to text the code to my door. I could not get up off the floor. My cheek was on the floor. I was literally on the floor. And she came and she picked me up off the floor. And I guess that was my lowest point. But I just kept thinking, oh my God, thank you, Jesus, that this woman down my street who's not even related to me actually came in the middle of the night and she lifted me from the floor. And I've never told anyone that. But if it weren't for that night, and I can remember some of the words you said, and she stayed with me as long as she needed to stay. And you know, I reassured.
I stayed all night.
Oh, maybe you
I stayed
did.
up all night praying over you. When you finally.
Maybe you did. I'm sorry.
I got her in bed and just stayed up all night praying over her because she was just. I just felt like Satan was confusing her and messing with her mind, and she was not seeing herself for who she really was. And I tell her that all the time. If you could see you the way I see you, like so strong and yeah, just amazing. And so I just stayed up all night praying over her and out loud. You know, Satan can't hear our prayers. He can't hear our thoughts. So I prayed out loud over her all night. I remember that very well. And the next morning you were exhausted, but so much better.
I was exhausted, but so much better.
Yeah.
And I do remember having a conversation with Jennifer before that time. Just, you know, I was like, you know, Jennifer, I was like, I just don't know if I can do this. You know, I don't have a degree. This is hard doing this by myself. You know, Kevin's a great dad and he loves them and they love him, but he divorced me. And so he has his life. And if it doesn't involve the kids, like on his time when he has them, I am on my own. And I think that night was just seeing the future of, you know, the struggle and how hard, you know, figuring out money and, you know, I had a job, I have a job, but anyway, I just thought, whoa, I don't want them to struggle. I don't want them to see this. And, you know, she came and I did, I think I made the choice, okay, I have to do this because I don't want to be without them. I couldn't do that to them. I mean, I didn't want to do that to them, but it was a thought. And so I got medicine. I got medicine that helped a little, and then I just decided whatever I have to do, I'm going to do it. And it's still hard, but
you've done it.
But I've done it.
You've done it.
And
they need her. I mean, that was what one thing I was telling her that night is like, they need you more than they need money and financial stability. I mean, they have that, but they need you. They need their mom. And yeah, they do. They need her, and she's amazing.
And you're amazing.
And you've done it.
Yes. So, yeah, Tracy Stewart, she did that. She's been that. And then, it's so funny because we work together, but there'll be days that we don't even see each other at work. Like, we're just busy and doing stuff, and I'll text her at work and go, I miss you.
Well, and sometimes I love this too. So she's in the front office, and sometimes she'll call into the library on the speakerphone and just go, I miss you, I love you, and then hang up. And sometimes I'm reading with the kids, and they just kind of look, I'm like, it's Miss Parks. She misses
I know.
me, and it's the best. Yeah, it's so fun.
So yeah, God is just crazy good. And, back to this whole podcast thing, this is like the people in your life are there for a reason, then and now. And, I even think back to when I moved. I've said this a few times to you, the neighbors on my street growing up, he took me from there, and he's like, okay, now you're going to live on this street. I'm going to give you these people, and you're not going to need some of them yet, but you're going to have them for things that you're going to need. And
well, and even when we moved here, we moved from Amarillo. My husband was opening up a branch he's an infusion pharmacist, so he was opening up a pharmacy here. And my sister lived in Summerwood, so we definitely wanted to be close to her and her kids. And I remember before we left, we loved our street in Amarillo. We loved the school, and that was my two big prayers. I was like, okay, God, just lead us to the house with the neighbors, good neighbors, and a good school. And my sister and I, she actually went, when we were looking for houses, she went with me. And we had gone to so many different houses in Summerwood and just didn't have a great feeling. And we walked into this house, and I remember my sister and I both walked into the kitchen, and we looked at each other, and at the same time we said, this is it. Like, we just knew this was it. And I just feel like we were placed here for a reason. And I've gotten so much from Brenda. I mean, this is pretty one-sided right now, but like, this is a mutual friendship, and I have learned so much from her and grown so much just being around her. And
I don't know what she's talking about.
It's true. Like,
well, I hope that you will do a list. I'm sure you say these things all the time.
I wish you would have told me you were doing a list, and I would have made my own, because there's a lot.
That's okay. That can be another episode, or it can be something that y'all do. But Tracy, you are such a good example of why we need godly friends, why we need godly women in our lives. And I think if Brenda hadn't listened to her gut, if she'd gone to someone who didn't speak truth over her, didn't pray with her and pray over her, she wouldn't have the healing and the peace that she has. She'd have strife and conflict and entitlement and all of those things that the world says you ought to, you deserve, you should, he should, like all of that stuff. But you just love her and you love the Lord. And that's, I've had one meal with you, and that's completely evident there. It's evident to me that you guys, like, neither of y'all are using each other for anything, or you don't gain anything from your friendship other than having someone like we need people as our parents, as our spouses, as our friends, to point us back to him. We have a shepherd. We need sheepdogs. And that's what y'all are for each other. That's not from me.
Like
that's
that
from an old, one of our Episcopal priests, and it's been running through so I've been walking through some friend stuff, and it sucks, plain and simple. But sitting here with y'all, I'm like, this is such a good reminder for me. And I understand why women, you know, the 6 who are watching this, if they don't have a Tracy and a Brenda in their lives, like my prayer for y'all is that y'all find one. And maybe it is Brenda or Tracy. Like maybe, I mean, it might be Christy Front. I don't know. But y'all, we need women who speak truth to us. Even we're talking about the things that you did that lifted her up. But I know that part of loving someone through a divorce and a loss and all of that is the days that you have to say, that's not true. Hide your crazy. We're going out. Right? There's that too. Like it goes both ways.
We're going for a walk.
Yeah. Well, and you know, like I said, she does too. Like we have other women and friends in our lives who, you know, like her best friend is that she's had her whole life from kindergarten. But you know, something about the way God pushed us together, it's just awesome. But she I always teases about holding the mirror up. Tracy is my mirror holder upper. Like,
and I don't get my feelings hurt when she ignores me for several days after I do that. It's like she's processing what I said, but yeah, I can be a little blunt.
Like speaking truth, like for real. And I'm like, you don't know me.
But she does.
I am not looking at that mirror right now. Like I am not ready.
Brenda drives by your house like this.
Oh yeah, there have been times like radio silence.
Yes,
not hearing from Brenda for a while.
And you know, and to those other women, because I know Renee Carr, she's another. She has lifted me up too, and you know, and my mom. You know, like I do have people I could call, but again, like just she was the one. She was the neutral, those things that, and I'm like, I'm so glad. I don't know where would I be? Who would I be?
I don't know without me.
Without you. But I'm just so grateful and thankful. And, you know, I just love coming here because now it's like, you know, me and Jeff, I call him sister brother.
That's not emasculating at all, Bryn. Really.
And maybe he loves it.
He does. Because he and I could be like, you want to watch a movie? And it's like, he likes the same kind of movies that we like. You know, I won't take his man card away and say like
his favorite. Oh, he'll tell you.
Oh yeah, he would. His favorite movie is Notting Hill?
Notting Hill.
Yeah,
and he can quote the entire thing. And then he's still like, he'll quote it and get teary-eyed just quoting it.
The day that I started calling him sister brother was we you know, of course the kitchen, we're always in the kitchen talking and whatever, me and her and the girls, and he got up and went to the living room and he started watching a movie, and I was like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm gonna watch Pretty in Pink. I was like, wait,
what?
Huh? By yourself? Like just because?
While we're all like having a conversation,
like we're all,
you can join us.
Yeah, come in here with us. But no, he was watching Pretty in Pink, and I was like, man, I can get behind this. He's a cool guy. I was like, he's like one of the girls. You could be my girlfriend. You're my
guy.
You're my sister brother. No,
so,
but
I'm dying to know. I have been curious about this all day, and I don't want to like jump the gun here, but I want to know what your song is for Tracy, because I know you worked hard on this. Either you worked hard or God just handed it to you and that was it. Which was it?
Oh, God handed it to me. And talk about timing. So you see this cool Wicked shirt I'm wearing?
Yeah.
And so I helped. We're in the process. We started last weekend helping a friend clean out her closet.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she like threw this in the toss pile, and I was like, this, you don't want that Wicked shirt? Like, it's so cool. And it's like, she saw the show. It has all the like dates and stuff. It was the tour. And I was like, I don't want that. It's brand new. She's like, yeah, I don't even think I wore it. And I was like, I want it. Can I have it? And it's a large. I wear extra large. It's like, I don't think it's going to fit me, but I want it. It fits me. And so that was just last week. Okay. And so here we are today. And I've had this song picked out since, I looked up that date too. It was when were we gonna sit with you? Like May?
Yeah, it was like back in May.
Okay, so the song that I picked for her was For Good from the musical Wicked. Yes. And I'm like, and here I am. Now I have a Wicked shirt to wear on our episode. Timing. God is awesome. But
okay, so it's in a faith protector. Like, it's like, do you have a Tracy binder? Like, what's happening here?
I started a normal bias binder because because I'm telling you, look how many times have we tried to do this episode? I was like, fine. Well, I already got the song picked out. I'm putting it in the binder.
In a
Romer,
protector.
I have one for Romer too, and for Ben Platt, the actor. There's his is in there too. Those are my, like, these are gonna happen. So yes, so I picked this song For Good, and I even said a while ago, like, hey, look, we look like Alphabet, and yeah, me too. What's the other girl's name?
You remember as soon as we hang up. Okay, so what are the lyrics that you want to share?
Oh, it's Glenda. Okay,
Glenda.
so if you've never heard this song, first of all, go do yourself a favor and go see Wicked. Tracy, of course, said she's read the book. I have the book. I've never read it, but the musical, it's just amazing. I love Wicked. The music is wicked good. But it's about two girls and their friendship, and but this song is so good. I could read the whole thing.
You can. Oh, you know what we also could do? We could also play it.
Well,
Who do you want me to be?
I think I'm Alphaba, you're Glenda.
I'm Glenda. Okay.
So Alphaba so they sing to each other in this song. And Alphaba, it just says, I'm limited. So I'm Alphaba. I'm limited. Just look at me. I'm limited. And just look at you. You can do all I couldn't do, Glenda. So now it's up to you. For both of us, now it's up to you. And Glenda says,
can I do that part?
Yeah, Glenda.
Okay, you're blocking me.
Oh, I'm not sorry. Okay. I'm sorry, Glenda.
So Glenda says, I've heard it said that people come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn. And we are led to those who help us most to grow if we let them, and we help them in return. So good. Lucy, stop ruining our song.
You're ruining our moment.
I kind of want Tracy to sing. Like, Tracy, I feel like it could be your moment. I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah. It could be. Well, I don't know if I believe that's true, but I know I'm who I am today because I knew you. Lucy, look, like a comet, like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better, but because I knew you, I have been changed for good.
So those are all my words too, I could say. And then Alphaba says, it well may be that we will never meet again in this lifetime. So let me say before we part, so much of me is made of what I learned from you. You'll be with me like a handprint on my heart. And then they both sing the part. Oh, it's so long.
We don't have to do the whole song.
Yeah, we don't have to do the whole song, but because I knew.
I feel like we're this deep. Let's keep singing.
Steve, stop it. But basically, just the words, because I knew you, I've been changed for good. It's just such a good song. And it's just a good song. And it is. And I have truly been changed. And I feel like that girl who texted her on July 4th, 2014 and said, Kevin wants a divorce, I'm dying inside. It's so crazy. Like, who is that girl? Like, oh my gosh, look what's happened. And it's awesome. And all the things she said, you know, I just remember in those texts where, you know, it's going to be okay. Even if it's not okay right now, you're going to be okay, and it's going to be okay. And she's I'm not going to say you're always right. A lot of the truth that she speaks, because it's like from God's mouth to her ears, then, out of her mouth to my ears.
And part of it's experience. I mean, having lost my mom tragically and being totally lost, and like, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do? I'm only 16 and my mom's gone. And I was it was April 27th, 1985. And I was a senior that following year. So it was like going into my senior year, didn't have my mom. But looking back, that experience made me who I am today. And I knew, like, when I knew she was going to be okay, because I was okay. And knowing that it just takes one day at a time, one step at a time, and almost changing that. One thing that's really big for me is self-talk. And right when I found out my mom died, and I remember thinking, I mean, I had this overwhelming sense of peace. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It's not what you would choose. It's not what you want to happen, but it's going to be okay. And, I grew up in the church, and I just had this connection with God where I was like, okay, God, this is not anything I ever would have thought would have happened, but I know I'm going to be okay. Well, then I went off to college. I went to UT and stopped going to church and didn't make the best choices. And I remember one night feeling sorry for myself. And it was like, just this self-talk of this shit, kind of back to what you were saying, like, the world tells me that, this shouldn't have happened. You should have her here, and it just poor me, and just this, anyway, it was a really low spot. And then when I finally fast forward a few years, and I was talking to my friend LaDonna, who we've been best friends since kindergarten, and she was actually going through a hard time with her husband at the moment. And I remember her having this overwhelming sense of peace about it. And I was like, something clicked in my head, and I was like, I used to have that. I want that again. And so started getting back into church, getting that connection again, and that whole self-talk started changing in my head, that narrative. And so and that's, like I said earlier, I'm always telling Brenda, I want you to see yourself the way I see you, and just having that self-talk of I'm not good enough. I can't do this with the boys. They deserve, better. It's like, no, they deserve you. You just kind of changing that narrative, I think.
And she's so good at that, and I don't know if it's the mirror, but there'll be days and I'm like, I'll start, with the talk and you're, whatever I say to myself, like, you can't do this, like, you're stupid, like, what do you even think? And then all of a sudden it's like a record scratch, and it'll go, and then I'll start hearing Tracy, don't you do that? No, yes, you can. Like, her voice will be in my head going, don't do that. Don't go there. I was like, whoa. I thought that, remember the time I climbed a rock, at Enchanted Rock? Yes. I was climbing that rock. And see, I wasn't there to climb the rock. We had gone on that trip specifically for a friend of mine I was working with at the time at the church, and she had this caricature. She had a caricature of her climbing a rock holding a plate of cookies. And I was like, Susan, what the heck is that plate of cookies? Why are you climbing a rock holding it? She goes, those are my 2 lifelong dreams. I want to be a baker, and I want to climb a rock. I mean, a rock climb. And I was like, dude, well, when are you going to do that? Long story short, we were at Enchanted Rock climbing for her big dream. And she's so gracious to share the dream with everyone. And they're like, do you want to try? And I was like, y'all, look at this. There is no way this can climb up a rock. I have too many assets, okay? And no. But there I was. I was like, okay, fine, I'll try. Everyone else was trying, okay? And I remember getting up halfway there going, this is so stupid. I'm What am I doing? I'm afraid of heights. I am fat. I can't do this. I'm like, Billy, I'm coming down. I can't do this. And then all of a sudden, Tracy popped in my head going, what do you mean you can't do this? Yes, you can. You are equipped. You are, God is there. You just keep going, did all the things that she says to me. And my big booty got up on that rock.
You did it. No one can ever take that away from you.
No, I did it. And I came, and then I rappelled down. Yes, I did. I rappelled down, and I just remember being so just elated and happy and like, what the heck? I actually did that. And I remember the service was sketchy, but I ran to my cell phone and I called her and I was like, oh my God, Tracy, guess what I just did? Like she
was so cool.
It was,
so cool.
And she was the one. I called her and I said, and you were in my head telling me I could do it, and I did it. She was so in my head that day. I was like, listen to this. Okay, fine. I'm going to do this. And I did it. It was awesome. And I called her. I was like, and you were in my head telling me. And so there, I did it.
We all need a truth teller. And that, I mean, you know, there's the truth teller, but we all need a truth teller.
And
Sorry about the dog.
yes.
Well, and I have to be a buzzkill because I only set this up until noon. I gave it an hour and a half, and we're pushing it. So
no, it's okay. I think I've told her everything, and I wish we had 2 more hours so we could talk more about how amazing she is. But I feel better just knowing that she knows how much I love her, and then I just thank her for lifting me up all of the time and loving me and my boys.
I love the boys.
Yeah.
they're pretty awesome.
Yes.
We have a group text between our families, and it's hilarious.
It is hilarious.
I can only imagine with you guys.
Yeah, it's pretty great. But yes, y'all, even when it's hard to hear the truth from your friend, and they're holding the mirror up to you, just look and listen, because that's your people. You need that. Even when it's hard to hear it, you need that person. And you know, when God gives you that person, you're like, what? I barely talk to that person. You want me to? That's the one I'm gonna tell. Just listen.
Tell them anyway.
Tell them anyway, even if they're on a train in Europe.
You never know.
You never know. But
oh, friend, I love you. I love you too.
This was awesome. Thank y'all I feel like I got to sit in and like just witness such a sweet part of your friendship. So thank y'all for sharing that with me.
well, thanks for listening, Christine.
Yeah. I love you guys.
I'm going to bring a list next time for Brenda.
You let me know, Tracy, when you're ready to sit down again. I'll schedule you.
Okay.
You guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for just giving me a place to be safe, but to share my story and the people that have gotten me here. And I hope you'll share tell someone today that how you feel about them.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a perfect ending right there. Go tell them.
Go tell them.
Hey y'all, are you still watching? Are you still listening? Oh, hey Mom.
We're so glad that you're still with us. If you want to connect online, we're at www.normalbiaspodcast.com, or you can find us on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. And our very favorite, if we made you a mixtape, we'd put all those songs on our Spotify playlist for you.
All the things.